Welcome to Three Dads in a Pod, where three friends who are so good at being dads decided to make a podcast about it. Please be advised, by listening, you may need to remind yourself not to hate them for being this awesome. Now grab a drink, pull up a chair, and don't listen to anything they say because they're idiots. Here's your hosts, Will, Wes, and Colin.
I did read a study, Colin, you say, supporting our wives through the pregnancy. I mean, technically, I carried Callie for 27 years. Is that not, can anyone fact check me or is?
I may be sounding like an idiot here, but can you please explain that to me?
Callie's cells that we're 50% of the work. So our cells, I was carrying for 27 years. For that burden.
Again, I might just be putting myself out there to be made fun of, but I feel like I need to call BS on that because I'm pretty sure that the male sperm is just
rejuvenating.
It's just there and then dies and it's just continuous your whole life. I'm pretty sure it's the females whose eggs are every egg they're ever going to have is there when they're born.
I don't like that narrative. All right, so no, I think
we're gonna need a listener to fact check us, but I'm pretty sure that's how it is.
Is it? I believe you're right. Actually, I know you're right about that, Colin. I thought it was kind of the same concept, but if that's not the case, then I apologize.
Well, it can't be the case.
Callie, the individual sperm that made Callie was freshly produced. It wasn't.
Yeah, there's no way that
it wasn't being developed and groomed, and you weren't holding on to it for 27 years. It wasn't one specific sperm that was just waiting for this specific.
Well, just I've been cooking this sperm for 27 years, baby.
It's the first time.
Finally gonna release the dragons.
Papa Murph always told me, don't let facts get in the way of a good story, guys.
Oh my gosh.
Whatever. All right, well, screw that. So supporting our wives through carrying the child.
Yeah, I mean, does anybody, I don't really know what kind of question to kick this off with, but does anybody just even remember what it was like with your wife being pregnant? I guess maybe what was your expectation and how was it different or similar?
I feel like this is going to have a lot of synergies with the feelings we talked about when we found out.
Yeah.
Because we had no idea, and you can be prepared. I think probably all of our wives had different books or things they were reading or, doing different things for their body during the pregnancy.
Okay, maybe that's a good way to take this. What if we just talk about what you witnessed out of your wife while she was pregnant? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was Aaron?
A lot of complaining, a lot of bitching about how hard it is.
Oh, Wes, do you want to? Can you start us off? What was?
Oh, I'm so tired. A lot of random cravings.
Bro, do you want to know what's funny? We didn't know Aaron was pregnant yet, and we had got back from a honeymoon, bro, and I felt every time I came downstairs or I got home from work, Aaron was eating ramen, and I was like, babe, I never tell Aaron how to eat or what to eat. And I was like, babe, I love you, but do you know how much sodium is in one of those? And you're eating 2 or 3 a day. And it wasn't every day, but frequent enough to where it was another one. We eat dinner and we're sitting on the couch watching something an hour and a half later. And she's like, I want a bowl of ramen. And I was like, and then we didn't even think about it. And then that stopped. But Erin always does that. She'll find a food she really loves and then she'll eat it till she hates it. But with this, it was different. Anyway, 2 months into after we found out, Aaron was like, oh my God, it was the ramen. Someone asked about cravings, and it was like, wait, the ramen was the first craving. We didn't even know, but her body already started, just changing. She was pregnant, but it was very early on. And it was almost like it was an uncontrollable craving. Like I had to have ramen. And it was so funny because it was before we even found out she was pregnant or anything, but it was like, wow, it kind of shows just how it's a very simple way of showing just how crazy the body starts to change almost immediately the way it operates. But I forgot what you said, Colin. This would be a great way to start. Oh, but just like, I think the unknown, and that's why I said a lot of synergies, I think, because the unknown for us, especially being first time dads, like there's things that your wife is telling you and she's reading, and then also things that she tells you, hey, it would be good for you to read this, or different supportive things that you can do. But bro, every step of the way is so eye-opening and foreign, if is the best way to put it. I feel like in the moment, I didn't truly understand. And I feel like I would be more supportive and better the second time around, because I'm like, wow, everything was kind of put into perspective. It was just so new. I didn't even know what to think about it. I was just trying to be there for her in a way, but it was the craziest thing. Like, I don't know. It's like that's what I tell people all the time about a woman carrying a baby. It is the craziest thing in the entire world. Like, you are growing a human being inside of you, in your body. Your internal organs are shifting. Your hormones, like you're feeding a baby. You're feeding yourself and then feeding the baby, growing a human, and then going through that. I think it was just, all of it is insane. And then obviously you have the grand finale of actually giving birth, and that is just a whole nother thing that is mind-blowing and incredible.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't think of, you guys will probably trigger specifics for me, like the ramen thing, but I don't know. What do you guys think about like that process of like experiencing?
I think, like, as I look back on it, one of the things that I maybe wasn't ready for, you find out that your wife is pregnant when they're, I think generally, 6 to 8 weeks pregnant, something like that. And so very quickly after you find out that they're pregnant, morning sickness is setting in for a lot of women, So like your introduction to your wife being pregnant is right out of the gate. There could be morning sickness. There could be that kind of uncomfortability. And it's like, oh, geez, it's kind of this initial shock of, oh, man, maybe all those rumors about pregnancy are true and can kind of be a little bit scary and whatnot. Which I guess pro tip for if there's any, well, actually, it'd be good for husbands to know, too. But I think Leah probably told Kelsey this, Wes, but vitamin B6 and Unisom basically took morning sickness and all that stuff away like immedately.
Same for Aaron.
Yep.
Leah came in clutch for Kelsey and Aaron for sure.
Yeah.
I still take Unisom.
Did you tell Aaron that too?
Yeah, she did.
Really?
I still take Unisom. I'll take half a pill, and if I actually need to sleep well or hard, like I'll take a Unisom. I started taking it when Aaron was pregnant. And I took her prenatal, and my bench went up 40 pounds.
But yeah, and then like, so that really kind of curbed the morning sickness and the discomfort for Kelsey. And then, I don't know, just was kind of this long period of, from my perspective, and I'm sure Kelsey would have a completely different story, but like, it seems like nothing's really happening for, a few months. There's no like real visible signs of growth going on. But for me, that's why it was so clutch to, I think maybe I might have missed one. But I was at like every appointment with her at the doctor's. And I think that was really key for me, was to be at those appointments with her so that I could hear what was going on, and see like the ultrasounds and stuff, because I mean, yeah, the first, like the ultrasound, then when you actually see the shape of a human taking form in there, it could just like floor you, And then the 3D. Oh, that's actually the one I missed. Was whenever they offered the 3D, I couldn't be there, so Becky went with Kelsey, and I saw the pictures afterwards, and I don't think I cried, but I was pretty dang close to it, because I was like, I'm looking at my daughter right now.
And it's crazier now because it's crazy how much it looks like them. how accurate it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, that's a 3D of a baby, and then your baby comes out, and you're like, holy shit,
Yeah.
it was spot on.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
even like the non 3D ultrasounds, the first one that we saw Eden's like actual body, like we could just see her little button nose, and it's like, dang, like my daughter is cute.
Yeah.
Her little nose on there, but yes, I mean all that stuff was that I think for me was really key in being present and understanding of what was going on during Kelsey's pregnancy was just showing up to the doctor visits as much as possible. I don't think any like real big craving set in for. I made one late night gas station run to go get, I think maybe some kind of chocolate. I ran out to grab her some chocolate. But Kelsey just had weird food aversions pop up early on. We were on the way to South Carolina to visit, to go tell my mom and stepdad and sister. And we're on the way and we stop at Chick-fil-A and Kelsey's like, this is gross. Like, I cannot eat this. And she loves Chick-fil-A. It was so sad. She's just in the car like, I can't eat this Chick-fil-A. Yeah.
No, I was thinking about what you said earlier about the first trimester. I think it's tough on, obviously, there's no comparing tough on male to female here. I'm saying, but I think the first trimester is hard too, especially for a first-time mom, because you're feeling this way, but you can't physically see anything different, if that makes sense. Like, you're pregnant, you know you're feeling this way, but it doesn't. You don't look pregnant. It just happened. It's new. Yeah. I think because Aaron, I think it sounds like Kelsey was the same, and Wes, maybe Leah, but first trimester, really tough. Obviously, these weird feelings, sicknesses, etc. Second trimester is like you're starting to show, feeling a lot better. And then third trimester, it's like your body's in pain. You may get nauseous or sick at certain times, but you're fully pregnant, like you are ready to go. And so I think there's a difference where the third trimester, like you're feeling some type of way and you're like, yeah, I'm huge. I'm carrying a full-fledged baby right now. So that makes sense. But I think the first trimester is tough, especially for a first-time mom, because first time ever experiencing these things, first time your body is ever going through it. So I think, me and Aaron talk about the, baby number 2 and how, what we just talk about it. It's not anything that serious, guys. Weird. But we just talk like she knows a gist of what to expect and how she is going to feel. It'll differ obviously here and there, but I think that's the thing, is that first trimester for a brand new mom is probably like really scary and strange, and you're not showing, so you don't get to be like, oh, it's just very new. So yeah, I agree with that. I think it sounds like Aaron and Kelsey had a very similar experience or, progression.
Yeah.
What about you, S? You want to say anything tonight, or?
No, sorry, I was just listening to you guys. I'm trying to be like really intentional about not interrupting because I can have a tendency to jump in and do that. But no, I remember the doctor visits. I similar to you, Colin, tried to make it to as many as I could, and those were memories that I will always remember. Like, I'll never forget hearing the heartbeat.
Yeah. Yes.
We're seeing like a hand in the foot.
Yeah, like when they start to tell you like what part of what you're looking at is what. It's just such a crazy experience that, yeah, I was crying. Leah was crying. It's awesome. And then Leah was one of those rare people that barely had, like, she gained like, I think 18. She'll probably correct me on this. She might be texting me or texting you guys as I say it, but I think she only gained like 18 pounds. Like, she didn't gain a lot of weight.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
She does, like, really? She barely, like, yeah, she literally, it was just like a pouch. And she didn't gain a lot of weight. She didn't show it other than just her stomach, but she did have gestational diabetes. So she had to
really monitor
all of the daily monitoring of her blood sugar levels, and she had to be really, really intentional about what she was eating. And I was joking earlier about like the complaining and all that. She was honestly such a trooper, and she handled it, to me, from my perspective, like an absolute champ. I joke I think I may have said this on the last episode, but I just gained this whole new level of respect for her. I'm just observing her take the responsibility of developing a kid.
Yeah.
It was like a 9-month all-out training regimen that she was on, that she was committed to and consistent with every single day.
Yeah.
And I just saw her in a completely different light afterwards, and still do to this day. She didn't have a lot of cravings other than fruit, if I'm remembering correctly. She was just obsessed with fruit. Like, she was just throwing down oranges and watermelon. That was just what she wanted every single day. I do remember as soon as she had Margot, the first thing that we ordered to the hospital was, I think it was either a Jimmy John's or a Jersey Mike's, because she was craving cold meats like that you can't really eat. But another thing for me that I remember distinctly was feeling Margot kick.
Yeah.
Because kind of to your point, you see them physically changing, but then it's almost like out of sight, out of mind a little bit. Like you just get numbed to it. Oh, you're pregnant. Oh, your belly's big. It, like, once you see it, then you just become almost immune to the fact that they're pregnant. Other than them telling you things that they're dealing with that kind of remind you, oh, yeah, I forgot you're actually carrying a baby inside
Right.
of
It's
you.
almost like all you're remembering of them is like just them, like your image of them is like,
you just see it, and it's just like, okay, like, you just go on with your day, and then they remind you of like things that they're dealing with, and you're like, oh, like, crap, yeah, you are actually going through something crazy, because I'm just completely normal in myself, like, during it all. But when she started feeling Margot kick, and then when you can visibly see it, and then when you can touch it, then it was like, man, like, and just thinking about that now, like, Margot was in her stomach, moving around, kicking. She could hear our voice. We played music. I talked to her. It's just crazy, man. It's so crazy.
I specifically remember probably wearing out my welcome on both of your wives' stomachs with the kicking. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. And it wasn't even my kid, you know?
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, I remember it was either we were at your house for something, Wes, and I remember doing it to Kelsey. At one point, Kelsey's like, you did this last time. I'm like, you don't. It's fine. But Kelsey was like, sure, Will. Like, you can.
She just expected it. Like, she sees you, you're like, go ahead, Will.
Yeah, like, and I'm probably blowing that up to make it sound way more weird than it was, but I just thought it was so cool when Leah or Kelsey would be like, oh, she's kicking or something, and you put your hand there, and you can just almost feel a hand or an elbow or a foot like pushing out against your hand.
Were you guys able to see, like, at any
No.
point, like a foot or like a hand mark in the stomach, almost like pushing up at all?
A little bit here and there.
Oh, congrats, guys. That's good.
I vaguely remember, I think there was only one scenario where, like, she pushed her hand up, but
You know, there was one time where I just saw like a middle finger through. But, dude, speaking of that, we were in bed. It was like 8 months, and Erin's buying, she's going in on the clothes, right? Old Navy did a sale, the cool, typical female killer sale. I call them the female killers, because it'll be a sale like, get $50 off for every $250 you spend. And Erin looks at that as like, oh, a free $50 coupon. She doesn't look at that you have to get, spend $250 to get said coupon,
yeah.
So
What was that, like a 20% discount? It's like nothing special, too.
Yeah.
No, it's less than that.
less than that.
No,
But
it's 20%.
we're in bed.
$50 off $250. Yeah.
She had a massive cart of clothes. And she was like, babe, I'm about to do something bad. And I'm like, what? She's like, show me this cart. I'm like, oh my gosh, babe, we just bought clothes. But she's like, I know, but these are for the weather change and blah, 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 all this stuff. And I was like, babe, let's just sleep on it. Let's go through it. And she was like, Callie, and I was holding Erin's stomach. We're in bed. And she's like, Callie, kick if you want daddy to buy you all of these clothes. And Callie, on cue, kicks hard as shit. And we both lost it. Like, it was the funniest thing. It was so funny, bro. She kicked so hard. And I was like,
Please tell me you bought all the clothes.
yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Of course. But it was so funny, man. Like,
That's so
just-
funny.
And do you guys feel this way too when Callie got out, like the way sometimes, you know, when they go through spurts where they're awake and they're near the end and they're really moving around and you're talking to them or they'll move, and then when they're out and they're newborns or whatever and they do the same, you can almost feel the same exact movement or exactly what they were doing in the
Oh,
Like when
like
you're holding them,
like when you're holding them and like they turn or whatever, and it's like, oh,
yes,
I felt you do this
yes,
inside of your mom's
yeah,
stomach. Yeah.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Like I vividly remember seeing Eden like stretch and just thinking like, oh, that's probably what you were doing
Yeah,
when we felt felt your elbow move or whatever, you know.
what about the moment that like where the babies? Correct me if I'm wrong, but did both of your wives have a natural birth, or was there a C-section for one of yours?
Kelsey was vaginal.
Both, right?
yeah, Callie was born in our living room. I performed it.
All right, so let's talk about that moment then, because you can't fully predict it. It just kind of like they give you the expected date, but things happen that don't always go specific to the date that the doctors tell you. So, what was that moment like for you? Did you guys, like, were you shocked? Like, take the listeners through the experience.
I will say
Okay.
Kelsey, from like while she was pregnant to her delivering, which was long, and I'll get there, but like all the horror stories about women being cranky and all that stuff that would be like excusable if you're carrying a child, like Kelsey just never acted like rude in the slightest bit to me. Like she was just so I don't know. She's has such a good head on her shoulders, and she was just a kind pregnant woman. But I will say, like for both of us, I think towards the end, which you would expect anyway, but it started to get really kind of frustrating because her due date was October 7th, 2023, and Eden was born October 18th. So October 17th became the scheduled like induction. So we're like just waiting and waiting and waiting. And like, when you get to 38 weeks, or even 36 weeks, you're like, it technically kind of could happen anytime here now. So we're, a month away from the due date and we're like starting to get ready. But then the due date comes and it's like, oh my gosh, okay, maybe another few days. And then that doesn't even happen. And then we have to wait another almost 2 weeks for this induction. And so it did kind of start to feel really long there. And then for us, and I don't know how in depth, like maybe we can circle back to me then and I can, kind of share more about it. But like, I don't know, man. I don't ever want to, I'm not going to question what the doctors did because they're the professionals and I understand like they have their methods of doing things. You just cannot convince me that Eden was ready to come out, even on October 17th. Like Kelsey was not dilated. Eden was up in that the highest, they have like the negative or 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2, -3. Like Eden was seated as high as she could be in Kelsey's stomach. Like nothing indicated that she was ready to come out. And Kelsey was on the Pitocin at like the highest level for, I ended up being like 36 hours.
Crazy. I remember you telling me this, so I'd check in with you and you'd be like, dude, Eden is still hanging on in there.
We were in, so maybe not 36 hours, but it was like close to 30 because she started the Pitocin shortly after we got into the delivery room.
Didn't you guys get to the hospital and then they sent you home too?
No. So no, when we called, they said that they didn't have any beds available, so we just had to wait until further notice, and it ended up being a few more hours that we had to wait. So we get to the hospital, and then within a few hours, they had put her on the Pitocin, and they started it real mild, but it wasn't doing anything. So they jacked it up pretty quickly, and so all in all, I mean, Kelsey it was 36 hours before she started pushing, and then she pushed for 4 hours. Like, I don't know. I'm just like, Eden was not ready to come out. But again, I get it. Like they have their timeline.
Yeah.
They have to work off of that. And it's fine. Eden, it was like she came out perfectly fine. Nothing was wrong. Like, so it was, I think right up like before the actual delivery, that was kind of the more stressful and frustrating part of the pregnancy, at least for me. I think Kelsey might say the same.
No, I can't imagine.
But again, Kelsey was still like, I'm telling you, she went in there with a plan. She wanted to do everything, like no epidural, all that kind of stuff. But she went in with a plan, and she was still flexible to be like, okay, I got to get the epidural now. I've been on Pitocin for X amount of hours. Like they had used a Cook's catheter to get her dilated enough to where then she could naturally get to 10 centimeters and all that. But she just went in there like, I am going to breathe through this. And still, like, she was just unbelievably pleasant to be around through that whole thing, you know?
Such a Kelsey move, you know?
Yeah.
Just to like be like the light of positivity during which I know for a fact you were stressed to the gills, or just not stressed to the gills, but trying to, what can I help with? Like, can I,
Yeah. Well,
anything I can do, like the suspense.
Yeah, and I wasn't stressed because she wasn't. So, I mean, part of me was kind of like, what am I supposed to do to help here? But there comes a point when you just need to be there to the degree that your wife knows when I need him, he'll act. But they're like, it's her show.
Yeah.
It's her thing. And to your point, Wes, about just witnessing Leah being pregnant and how that kind of changed your perspective on just her body and what she can do and stuff. I mean, yeah, like I think I witnessed that with Kelsey too, where you're like, what, you're witnessing somebody take on this challenge or responsibility with, I don't know, like this might be a weird word to use, but just his level of professionalism. Like, she'd already been there. I couldn't believe how you would have thought she'd given birth to 3 children before. But she just kept her cool the whole time. Like, I don't think a lot of women would have in that situation, and understandably so. But she's like, nah, I got a plan, and she stuck to it.
Like what you said last episode, if you're not ready, your kids will make you ready.
Yeah.
Flies to the girls too. It's like, whether you're ready or not, that isn't that the weirdest thing though, is that there's literally no control that our wives had over when the babies were coming out.
Yeah.
I mean, there was control in regards to them pushing the baby out, right? But when the
Even
baby's ready to come out, the baby's coming out. And unless you're scheduled for a C-section where, you know, it's a procedure that happens,
Yeah.
you gotta just go with the flow and take it. And they're absolute champs.
No, but
I don't
Con,
know
I thought
why.
that was such a, sorry. I think you froze, my bad.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, I don't know why I forgot that Callie was a couple weeks late.
I mean,
Sorry, eat it. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, that would stress me out. I know Leah would have been a stress ball about that.
Well, that was the biggest thing that stuck out to me, what Con was saying, is like, how awesome is that through all of that, and I'm sitting here like, dude, I know you're probably stressed to the gill. Kelsey was so composed
Mhm.
that her composure ran off on Colin as well. So like, just what a great place you guys were in solely because of Kelsey's composure in that situation. And
Yep.
I understand what you're saying, like level of professionalism, but in like a very like serious sounding way, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Like, it was almost like she understood the assignment and knew that, hey, this is going to be, but look, what's out of my control is not, and I'm just going to do this to the best of my ability. And it's cool that she made such an impact on you. I think that speaks a lot about Kelsey.
Yeah.
Too.
Absolutely.
And you know what's funny? I'll get into my story because I was almost the exact opposite of how I typically am in situations that are high stress or require you to stay level-headed. I'm usually the more level-headed, the more calm one, the more calculated. Like, all right, let's stay composed. And Leah's, you know, more emotional and tends to be a little bit more reactive, as you know, girls generally are, but maybe a little bit more so than the average girl. But Leah, I was taking a shower, and this was a couple of weeks before Margot's due date. And all of a sudden I hear Leah scream. This was at like 10 p.m. Like, Leah was up in bed, We're getting ready to watch a show, calling it a night, taking a shower before. And I hear Leah scream, Wes, Wes, Wes. I'm like, what? She's like, I think my water just broke. And then she comes into the bathroom and I see she's like continually leaking water on the bathroom. And I actually responded saying, are you peeing? Like what? Like, because I was so shocked at how much was still coming out of her, even after she had said that. Dude, I jumped out of the shower. I'm freaking out. I'm like, all right, all right, I'm throwing clothes on. I'm like
You feel
running
like
back
the
and
baby's
forth.
coming out like right now.
Dude, yeah. What you see in movies play out in my head. I'm like, we have a limited amount of time.
Yeah.
I am not in the car within the next minute. We're going to be delivering a baby in the car. I just freaked out. And Leah, as I'm like freaking out and like frantically running to put my clothes on and like, okay, I'm going to grab this. What do you? She's like, Wes, I need you to calm down. Everything's going to be okay. You're stressing me out. Please just control yourself. We're going to get in the car. We're going to head to the hospital and everything's going to be, and like, I was that person that just lost it. Absolutely lost it. And even on the drive to the hospital, you're still thinking like, because she's having some contractions, and you're still thinking, oh my gosh, please, let's just get there. Thankfully, it was late at night. We had like a 30-minute drive to the hospital, so there wasn't traffic, and we weren't, being held up by some accident or something. But we got to the hospital room, and, they're going through their whole procedure, and Leah was in labor for 8 hours, but she only pushed for like 15, 20 minutes. So on that side of like she just was lucky. Like,
I'll
she
see,
just
man.
got through it. She had an epidural, and that whole experience, because I remember sitting on the bed with her when they gave her the shot, and I remember like sitting on the chair and she's laying down and you can just like, she's just like, she got into this mindset
Yeah.
of, all right,
Yeah.
I'm prepared. She's breathing, she's staying calm. In fact, she was so calm, and the doctors were giving us updates as they were coming in, how much she was dilated, I guess is like the right word, like centimeters and all, that I ended up taking a nap on the bed for a few hours because they were like, that's going to be a little bit,
Yeah.
and then they ended up waking me up and letting me know, hey, like things are progressing. And yeah,
You could sleep. You slept for an extended
I
period of
took a
time.
nap for like 2 or 3 hours. I think
Bro.
Leah watched a movie. She had watched an entire movie. I forget what movie it
My
was,
God.
but she had watched an entire movie in the bed. And her mom was with us too. So
Mm.
that kind of added into like, I think everybody's calmness. She had her mom there. I knew her mom was obviously going to also be on top of things. She'd done it before. So I just felt like calm. But at first I wasn't. I was.
Yeah. Yeah, I fell asleep too. After I'm pretty sure it was after they put the Cook's catheter in. That pretty quickly got Kelsey dilated to like 6 centimeters. And it was right around then that I fell asleep. And then all of a sudden, like maybe 2 hours later, they're coming in and they're like, okay, she's 10 centimeters. She's 10 centimeters. We're going to start. And I'm just like, I just get up out of bed. I'm like, okay, showtime. We're about to have a baby here in 20 minutes.
Is there any relation to like the saying a baby's in the oven and it being called a Cook's catheter?
No idea. No idea. I would assume
Because like technically the mom's a cook. She's cooking the baby.
cooking the baby.
Like would that be a thing?
No, they did not. They did not give us the history lesson on the origins of Cook's catheter's name, but
I thought of that. No.
that
You
thing
know
was crazy. It's basically, they blow up 16 balloons.
what's really?
Here's the reasoning behind it being called that. The manufacturer that distributes it, or the company, I guess, that started it, was Cook's Medical.
That's
I
such
like
a-
yours. I like your story better, Will.
But I also, yeah, I agree. I think that should be why it was called that.
Well, we could get deeper here. Is Cook's Medical named after a family member, or did they name it Cook's Medical as in medical supplies for
Cooking a baby.
pregnant women? Yeah, for cooking babies.
Well, we'll never know.
we'll have to deep dive on that later. But I think it's funny too at each different points. I know Colin apparently was freaking cool, calm, and collected because of how Kelsey was, but I was very stressed as well. And it's like, we're not even going through anything. Like, we're like, when you think about it, like you're freaking getting everyone to the car. Like
The
Leah's
water boy on
being-
an ending.
like Leah, the water broke and she's going through that and has to like then go, I'm about to give birth to a baby and she's telling you to calm down. It's like, it's so funny. And Aaron had a similar story too. And I will say, you say that like her mom was there. I know, Colin, you had family there. That's one thing me and Aaron decided to do, was just us. And I think that added not like a stress, but we wanted that intimate moment. But it also came with, again, like, you know, Leah's mom being there with her, probably giving her some advice, talking through her some things. She had done it before, obviously.
There wasn't a sounding board for Aaron to like hear, like, hey, it's okay, like calm down. Like it was just newness for both of you guys.
Right. And like, I mean, usually like I'm really good at that because like I can be a great sounding board as I know everything about pregnancy and birth. So I calmed her down as much as I could with my extensive medical background. Just telling her, look, it's a mental thing. Like, block everything else out. Like, you just have to, your mind has to be ready. Pain is weakness leaving the body. So, well, at this point, it was Callie leaving the body. But no, I would say
You could snatch 300. You can push a baby.
honestly, yeah. To go back, I mean, it's exactly what you said, Wes, earlier, that after this whole, you know, I say during the pregnancy and especially after the delivery, the way I felt about Erin and how I viewed her was like, I can't put it to words because it is the most amazing thing ever. Like that, you know, not only did she take care of herself for those 9 months, but then to physically give birth to a human being is the wildest thing. Like, there's nothing like it. But to fast forward on how you guys as well, we just went to her 40-week appointment. I think it's like the last appointment before, not 40-week. Yeah, I guess it would be 39 whenever they do. It's like the very last appointment.
Yeah, they start doing them weekly after like 34.
38 weeks.
It's like 34, 36 weeks. They start going weekly.
Okay.
Something like that.
So we were going up
I
on,
don't know that.
this was a Friday, so then it would have been 39 weeks. We were a little late, so it was like 39 weeks and 5 days or 4 days. And we went to the appointment. Everything's fine. Erin's been feeling well. I think she was 2 or 3 centimeters dilated, which is good for that time. But they took her blood pressure, and her blood pressure was elevated a little bit. And so I guess it had been trending upwards every time, maybe like 1 or 2 points, but it kept getting higher. And with her being as dilated as she was, they were like, hey, with your blood pressure increasing, we don't want to risk preeclampsia, I think is what it's called.
Preeclampsia, yeah.
Where that can then affect the baby. So they said, hey, we're going to send you to the hospital to like have them check you out fully in a more in-depth thing. So we went from just like going to an appointment where Erin was like, I don't feel like the baby's going to be coming, you know, very soon, to like the OB being like, yeah, you can go to the hospital. And we're like, oh. So
Yeah.
we drove home, which we were like an hour away from the OB because Erin wanted to go to the specific OB. In Orlando, it's really not that far, but in Orlando, everything takes an hour with traffic. So we went home, like got the dog situated, called our dog sitter, like, hey, like unexpected, but possibly giving birth here soon. So can you please watch the dogs? We went and got Fresh Kitchen as like the last supper. And we go to the hospital and they're all there. And we go to the check-in desk and the lady's like, hey, so is there a reason, like, are you having this baby? And we're like, no, we don't know yet. But the doctor said I'm 3 centimeters dilated and my blood pressure was up. And she's like, you're 40 weeks in 2 days and you're 3 centimeters dilated. Like, you're ready to have this baby. So you're staying. So it was like, oh shit, like this is real.
Now I remember you telling us that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're at the OB not expecting it. Then it was like, oh crap, we're going to have this baby. Then we're like, actually, this is probably going to be a checkup. They're just going to say, you know, you're close, so be on alert. And then they were like, no, you're not leaving. We're checking you in. So it was like, oh, shoot. Erin was in labor, doing well, progressing. She like started getting the Pitocin and stuff like that. Nothing too crazy. And then I would say it was like Saturday in the afternoon. All of a sudden, it just kind of like stalled. And Erin went up to go to the bathroom. And when she got up, you know, obviously the baby and the mom are hooked up to everything. When she got up, like the charts, the whatever went insane. And the head nurse there was like, please sit back down, relax, and was like moving the baby around. And we didn't know at the time, but when she stood up, the umbilical cord was in a position where it tightened around Callie's neck. It was a scary moment. The freaking readers were going insane. And the ladies are all so calm and cool the whole time. And the way they were talking and acting was scaring the shit out of me. Like, I couldn't sleep because the machine was so loud. And anytime Callie's heart rate, and babies, their heart rate goes to like 180, like, or something like that. So I would be sleeping and all of a sudden it would be like, and I'd be like, oh my God. And then it would go back down. And I'm like on high alert. So then they were like, hey, they did another check again. And I guess Callie had gone to the bathroom inside Erin on their last check. I guess I forgot what they call that, but it's dangerous because the baby can then inhale bodily fluid. And it was funny because we were like, yeah, when Erin went to get up to go to the bathroom, literally we scared the shit out of her. Callie wasn't born on her due date because Callie has to be extra. She had to be a day late, even though she was like, they were seconds away from telling her to push, and then for hours was at the same spot. And so Erin starts pushing, and she pushes twice, and the doctor comes in who had just called the OB, and after Erin's second push, she goes, hey, you have options here. You can either stop pushing and wait for your OB to get here, because if you push again, you're going to have this baby without your OB here. Callie was in position, ready to go. And Erin was badass for this, but she's like, if I bridge Callie like inside till my OB gets here, do I have a less chance to tear? Because it almost like, you know, gets the birth canal ready. Erin held like Callie at the very brink for like 30 minutes. And sure enough, the OB comes in. It's like 1:45, looking like she was like just at prom. Hair's done, makeup, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, you're incredible. She comes in and she has her gloves and she's like, who's ready to have this baby? And I'm like, please, I've been up for 42 hours straight. Like, can we get this going? And yeah, Callie comes out pretty soon after, and it was scary because Callie had the cord wrapped around her neck, so they immediately cut it.
Yeah.
And Callie's not making any noise at all. And I know, at least I know one thing, babies should be crying when they take like their first breath or whatever. And so they cut the cord and bring her over, and they're like doing the suction. And I'm standing over by Erin, but I'm looking, and it was probably 30, 45 seconds, dude. I didn't hear nothing. And I'm just holding Erin, and I'm like, telling her how amazing she is, but at the same time being like, please make noise. Please cry. Like, do something.
Jeez.
And then she finally lets out a cry, and me and Erin were just like, we're good.
Man.
It was like the craziest swing of like super high babies out, and then this is dead silence, and no one's talking because they're all doing their jobs. And
So
That
scary.
would freak me out for
yeah, bro.
Did you watch? Were you at her?
Yeah,
feet?
I was right there. I was in there like swimwear, dude. I had
Days.
her leg up on my shoulder.
Yep.
I was holding her hand, had my leg up on her shoulder. I was like, you got this, babe. Like, bro. Oh, God. Can you imagine if you actually did that?
Isn't it crazy that Colin? Did you watch too?
Yeah, for 4 hours.
Dude.
So yeah, actually, I feel like I could probably contribute some unique stories to this conversation because it sounds like it was quite different from you guys. So I wake up to the nurses and everybody coming in, saying like, okay, she's gonna start pushing. So I'm like, all right, 10 centimeters, like here we go. Eden's gonna be here in 15, 20 minutes, right? And so yeah, the nurses. Also, I don't know if you guys felt this way, but at Lakeland Regional, the labor and delivery nurses are they are the most impressive people ever. Like, we could not say enough good things about just like how skilled and talented and just like wonderful our nurses were. They were amazing. They're so like, yeah, I just like over the moon with how impressed we were by them. But so they're like showing me like, okay, like here's like different ways you can hold her leg, and you know, so I'm there with Kelsey doing that, and so Kelsey starts pushing, and she's kind of using these different like breathing techniques and stuff that they're walking her through. And the nurses are like, they're so encouraging, like great job, great push. She's moving. So I'm in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's coming out here quick. And then 30 minutes goes by, and I'm like, what the heck? This is kind of weird. And then eventually we get to like an hour, and it was probably somewhere around an hour that I realized they're just being really encouraging. Like Eden is not moving at all. So I was like, dude, this baby's not moving. They're just trying to keep Kelsey's spirits high. And you know, an hour and a half in, I'm like, this is gonna be a while. And so I took a shit.
Show her how easy it was to push.
I was like,
one of us has got to push something out, so I'll take one for the team. Right?
I was like, Kelsey, I got to run to the bathroom quick. And I guess so. While I was in there, I guess the nurses asked Kelsey if they're like, does he get queasy? And she's like, no, I think he's just going poop. So I'm in there like trying to use Kelsey's breathing techniques to get my turd out. And so I come back out, and yeah, that
What is the average?
Did you ask one of the nurses to hold your leg up?
Yeah. I actually held the turd in the poop canal for 30 minutes. So I'd like to say I'm impressed by Aaron, but I'm not.
You were prepping your body.
Your APS, your average poop session.
Oh, I've gotten my times down nowadays.
Okay.
Yeah,
I felt like in college it was like 20 plus minutes.
Yeah, no, we're down to like 7 or 8.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Let's ask Kelsey when she's on what the APS is.
So I go back out to the bed, and then Kelsey's kind of switching positions and stuff, trying to do things like a different way, switching up how she's breathing and stuff. And dude, Kelsey, it like, I mean, as you can imagine, after a few hours of this, like, I don't know how she survived. Her eyes just start bulging out of her head. Like, every time she pushes, it's just so much stress. Her body's under an insane amount of stress, and she's starting to get delusional, like really delusional. So I'm handing her ice chips and stuff, and she's just starts talking nonsense. She's like, no, like if you go to Publix, like go to the left, and you'll find the ice machine. And I'm like, okay, all right, I just went to Publix, I got him. She's at one point I watched her fall asleep, and then a contraction woke her back up. So it was, I mean, it was an insane experience what Kelsey went through. And the fact that she was just with it all afterwards just speaks volumes to just the resiliency of a woman to be able to do these things.
I think that's a unique situation, Con. I want to say like that's unreal performance by Kelsey here. And also it makes me feel such an asshole for any joke that I try and make about anything about us guys. Like I'm listening and like, you know, at least we have the disclaimer on our, you know, intro that we're complete idiots. Like, don't listen to anything we say. Please do not listen to anything I say, like about men having a hard pregnancy or anything like that. Like,
how long is the labor in total?
40 hours total.
Dude.
Yeah. So, and like, in all of this, I don't want to give any kind of impression that this was a bad experience. I mean, it was a great experience. It really was. It was so long, and I literally cannot be convinced that Eden was ready to come out. But it is what it is. And so, did you guys when Leah and Aaron were pushing, did you guys get to touch Margot's and Callie's head, like in the canal, like while they were?
didn't.
Okay.
I don't know if it was offered.
Okay. So
As an option either.
one of the nurses was like, "Hey, Dad, do you wanna come around? Her head's coming out." And also they were like, "Oh, you guys got a little baldy," and they like apologized. They were like, "Oh, she's bald," and we're like, "We want a bald baby." So they're like, "Dad, do you want to come around and touch her head?" So I did, and I'm poking. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like this is my baby's head." But so all you can see is
Pushed
like,
her back in 3 inches.
yeah, right. So all you can see is just the top, like,
Yeah.
little, and to me, I'm like, oh, I'm looking at the whole, crown of her head
like-
here.
Oh,
It's like Megamind, dude. They can just
Dude.
keep going,
And
bro.
then shortly after that, I go back around to the side, and Kelsey pushes her out, and I was like shocked. I literally thought I was looking at Alien from Alien vs Predator, the way her head was shaped. And what's also crazy, once the head comes out, the rest just falls out like a baby calf. And then
Yes.
like all the placenta and everything just comes pouring out after that. That was insane to witness. But then you just have this baby just sitting there. Well, I guess not in your case. Will, it took like a good minute for Callie to cry. But this baby, they're holding her in the air. She's crying, and you're just, again, it's one of those things that words don't do justice. You're just speechless looking at your first child there. And they took her over to weigh her and kind of take whatever maybe vitals, I guess they need to take. And they came back and put her on Kelsey's chest. And I will never ever forget that moment. Like, that to me is like that's like summarizes the whole experience for me. Was sitting there looking at Eden laying on Kelsey's chest. Eden looked shocked. She looked like, she didn't know what was going on, whatever. And I just remember in my head just thinking, you're so brave. You just came out into the world. Like, you're so freaking brave. And then Kelsey's like, "Can I try breastfeeding her?" And the nurse was like, "If you want." And Eden, I don't understand how this is possible. Within the first 3 to 5 minutes of her being laid on Kelsey's chest for the first time, she latches and started feeding. It was incredible. And then I texted our family who was outside, and just sending that text, I said, "She's here!" ! Like, all that stuff was just so surreal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it is, bro. I was thinking of that first moment that Callie came back over and sat on Aaron's chest. Very calm, not crying or anything. It sounds like Eden was too. And just you're sitting there and you're seeing your wife, who you love, and now your daughter, who you love, which is crazy being the man too. This is the first time you're really getting to feel and connect with your daughter,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say. I'm not saying this like the mom's had 9 months with the baby before, but like, she feels a different connection.
It's true, yeah.
I remember just sitting there, like soft crying, not really saying much, but just looking. And it is the coolest, craziest feeling in the world. I think you said brave, a kind of very similar thing. Like, it's just how incredible and amazing both of you are. And funny, after Aaron held Callie for a little bit and I put Callie on my chest, she tried to breastfeed on me, which was funny.
Did you let her?
And,
Did you
yeah,
let her?
of course. Yeah, I've got enough. I probably had some whey protein in there somewhere, but no. But dude, after that whole situation, they took her vitals. Her blood sugar was critically low, and I could be butchering this too, but there's a lot of reasons. It could be that her body was not regulating its blood sugar levels properly, and they said it could have been when the cord got wrapped around her neck. She came out, and they immediately cut it. Like, usually they let the placenta stay attached for a little bit to allow the baby to acclimate a little better. So they were like, "Hey, she needs to eat." So then immediately Erin is breastfeeding. But they took her blood sugar again in like 5-10 minutes after she had breastfed, and it hasn't moved. So they were like, "Hey, we need to feed her formula because you're just not producing enough to change the blood sugar levels." So she drinks an entire ounce of formula at like 30 minutes old. And they're like, "Holy crap, like, your baby was hungry."
Yeah.
And then they test it 10 minutes later and it was still very low. So they're like, obviously baby just got here, its body's adjusting. And then they moved us to like the mother baby suite and they tested it and it had dropped lower than it was before. I was like starting because they had dropped us off in the suite. We had just had a baby an hour ago and they drop us off. They get Aaron comfortable. They show us, "Hey, here's the bassinet, here's diapers, here's wipes. Let us know if you need anything." And they walk out the door and I'm like, I need a lot of fucking things. I need a lot of help here. You just dropped me off with a baby, and I'm trying to be here for Erin, who has just been up for 2 days straight. And I remember sitting there and I was feeding her. She was being so cute. And I was nervous about the burping. I went to like burp her and my hand like slipped off her jaw and she kind of like jolted down into my wrist and started crying. And I immediately was like, oh my God, I just broke her fucking neck. Like, I'm trying to burp her. I may break her vertebrae in half. I don't know what like, I'm stressed to the max, bro, because one, I'm worried about her blood sugar levels. I'm trying to be there for Erin, who just went through the freaking ringer, and the baby's crying. I can't even feed it right. I can't burp it right. I'm like, I suck. I suck at this. And Erin's like, Will, like, relax. Just relax for a second. Like, yeah, you don't know what you're doing. Have you ever burped a newborn before? Like, no. And so right about the time I had a mental breakdown, the doctor came in and was like, hey, after looking at her blood sugar levels, we feel more comfortable her going to the NICU because we don't want her blood sugar to stay low, and it's not something we want to mess with. That obviously made me and Erin really sad, but we understood. So I'm like, I'll walk with Callie to the NICU. So we get her all set up in the NICU and they hook her up to all these machines and everything. And I remember just crying. They're like, look, Will, breathe. We don't want to say not life threatening because if we don't take care of this, it could be, but it's nothing that we're concerned about in here because we can get her, back to speed. But in my head, I'm thinking like, here we go, already a little stressful. But when I get back to the room and I just hug Erin and, the people are like, look, your baby's fine. We'll update you as much as you want. Call us anytime. We just took a second to be next to each other. I got in her little twin cot thing and we just like fell asleep together. And we got to nap for like 2 to 3 hours. They came in, but they were like, your baby's doing fine. And just felt like, okay, it's terrible that she had to go to the NICU, but me and Erin really needed that moment to recalibrate.
Just a reset, yeah.
Me more than Erin, which is crazy. I didn't just, go through all of that, but I really felt like I needed that moment. So Callie was there for 3 days, which was tough too.
Yeah.
Because pretty much what they do is they hook her up to the glucose drip and they get her levels to where they need to be. And then they'll drop it by a very small amount. And if she holds that blood sugar level for an hour, they'll drop it again. But if at any point she drops her blood sugar level, they have to go back to the beginning. So it was just this process of she's good, they drop it. Oh, she dropped, back to the starting point. And it was like that for 3 days. We slept in the NICU with her. And then I think the second day we drove home just to like check on the dogs and reset a little bit. And then we came back. But the hospital, Park Advent Health is where we were, was incredible. And the NICU was amazing for like families. They have a full-size bed. I mean, a sofa that turns into a bed so we could sleep right next to her. We felt a lot better after like the first day when we were just like, this is her body learning how to regulate itself. That's when it made it more bearable. But yeah, crazy here now. Now she's eating like 6 Hawaiian rolls per meal.
Yeah, I love Hawaiian rolls.
Dude, Callie, I had about 36 Hawaiian rolls today. They'll probably last us till Thursday. What day is it?
Put some ham and some cheese. Toast those things. A little butter on. Bro.
Eden's obsessed with pasta right now. Every time we ask her, yeah, like if it's 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. Eden, what do you want for breakfast? Pasta? Pasta?
Callie's on a huge pasta kick. She likes fruit, like strawberries and bananas. A kick right now, but yeah.
Well, we probably need to find a way to wrap this one up. We didn't even really get to talk about then taking our kids home, but we've kind of gone on a little bit, so I probably need to wrap it up. I think, Wes, what if there's a soon-to-be parent or maybe somebody who just wants to have a kid one day listening, what should he or she, what do we want he or she to know about pregnancy, delivery, all that we've talked about? What can you sum it up?
I don't even feel like I'm in a position to give advice because I feel blessed that ours went so smooth and quick. I would say that if you're nervous or scared or worried about that moment, the best thing you can do is just be the ultimate support system to your wife. I think she's going to look to you to give her the encouragement, the support, the positive feedback more so than the doctors. I know that they have a lot of weight and they carry a lot of obviously um, expertise and all of that. But I remember multiple times when Leah was pushing, she wasn't looking at the doctors, she was looking at me. And I just remember vividly, like, you got this, babe. Like, let's go. Come on. Like, just giving her that back. I think don't be scared about it. Also, my recommendation, I've told so many guys this that we're getting ready to experience that moment. I think it's amazing to watch your child come out. I would advise every guy to, like, even if you're a little like worried about, I don't know, I'm a little bit blood doesn't like I don't want to see my wife in
Don't
that
even
way.
think about it. You don't even think about it.
You don't think of it that way. Like I don't have a memory of looking at that part of my body's wife and that having any impact on like how I feel about that part of her body afterwards. Like I've heard guys say that too. Like, oh, I don't want to like have a memory of my wife in that way. I want that to be always looked. And it's like, dude, like it is so incredible to see your kid come out. And I remember like Margot was
I
born
want to punch
with
that dude.
hair. Huh?
I want to punch that dude, whoever said that.
Well, I've had a couple guys say that.
No,
More commonly, guys will be like, "Well, I don't do good with blood, or I'm afraid I'll, pass out or whatever." And I just think that it's just you can make it through it, and even if you do, like, so what? Like, try to,
You're in the best place to pass out.
yeah, like just pass out. Like, who cares? But like, it's such an incredible experience, and I know we've already said multiple times how amazing it is, but I would say like, be present, soak up as much as you can of watching your child be born. Don't think about how it's going to make you feel. Think about like that memory and that experience. And then just know that, at least in my experience, your wife is going to lean on you more so than you maybe even think she would. So be like the ultimate supporter. That'd be, yeah, maybe a long-winded response, but
No.
That's good.
Well said, Wessie.
All right. Will, what do you want to, we got to remind the people to follow us and pay us money and worship us.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening. Thanks to all our sponsors. The show wouldn't be possible without you guys.
Cook's Catheter, Cook's Medical Equipment. Thank you for sponsoring the show.
Yeah. Thanks, Cookie. But no, appreciate you guys listening. Hope you enjoyed this. Sorry, I was a little off there. Obviously, unique experience, and it'll be different for everybody. But core memory, I would say, for us husbands and fathers, is the day our daughters welcome themselves to the world. And I think you can find some beautiful, unique, incredible experiences from each story, stressful and awesome in their own way. But everything built it into a great experience for us, and one that we're extremely grateful to have. But yeah, if you did enjoy this at all, or a snip that you could apply to your own life, or something that maybe you think back on when you're experiencing these things, don't forget to like, share, or comment on some of the videos, or give us your take on what we discussed. We'd love and appreciate all the feedback.
And then I'll add one thing. If listening to this, you heard anything that you resonated with, maybe it was just a memory of your first experience in the hospital when you were having a baby, or just something that was funny, whatever. If you connected with something from this episode in any way, shape, or form, do us a favor. We're trying to grow a podcast here, and just share the show with one person that you think would enjoy it as well. And who wants to sign us off with a Three Dads in a Pod theme song?
I went last week, so I think it's your turn, Colin.
You said grow a podcast. So are we telling the listeners we're giving it 9 months? And if it doesn't,
yeah, if
pan
our
out.
podcast, if our podcast doesn't grow within 9 months, then we'll have to induce labor.
And you guys don't want to see that.
You do not want to see us induce.
You want to see three dads
Induce this
podcast.
We want this thing to grow naturally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't need a bunch of Zeds. And I'm
Don't you listeners force a C-section on us. Don't you dare do that.
Oh, I'd love to give you a C-section.
But you know what? 9 months. I mean, babies come into the world early. 6 months, 7 months, I've heard. So
Yeah.
we'll take that. We'll take that.
All right, Colin, hit it, dude.
Yeah, Colin.
Give us your best line.
Ding, 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 ding,
Tres papás en un podcast.